let's talk Faye the octopus. Here we have the absolutely not Faye skin unlocked, and it's cute, but the skin we think looks the coolest is the cultist Faye skin, which unfortunately we haven't unlocked yet. Wah wah. Let's go over the character basics. They call Faye the handy magician, which is a bit of a stretch to me, like, what magic? There's nothing magical about Faye, but official Zooba story goes that she can make appear a fourth weapon. Ooh, magic. Anyway, that's her passive ability, to get a fourth weapon. Her active is the ink bomb Faye can throw that blinds her opponents and kind of tags them for a bit. And finally, if you have the primal instinct unlocked, then this magical ink, if it hits an opponent, drops their defense, and their defense is decreased for a few seconds. In terms of her weapons, she's got a long-range bomb, a medium-range spear, a long-range shotgun, and a long-range single-shot bow and arrow set. Now that we've got all the basics out of the way, and you know what Faye has and what she can do, let's talk about how they play out in the gameplay. We'll share the cons first, what's not so good about playing Zooba with Faye, and then we'll share our pros or what's good about Faye. Here are the cons. Well, it turns out, just because you have 4 weapons doesn't mean you have a huge advantage in the game or that you're suddenly going to be amazing in Zooba. Nope, you're not. In fact, because they gave her an extra weapon, it feels like the developers shortchanged her on everything else that usually makes a difference in the actual game. For example, her special is kind of lame. Blinding ink is okay when it maybe hits someone, but more often than not, it doesn't hit anyone because the range is so short. You can't throw the ink bomb far, and that's a huge setback. Which is weird because all her weapons are oriented toward distance fighting, but her special, arguably the most important and unique attribute of her character, is short range. Huh? How does that make any sense? The ink bomb is just a lame special, which sucks because Faye could be so much more. Additionally, her damage and her own health are also problematic in that they appear to be insufficient. She doesn't have a ton of health and she doesn't get a lot of damage from her hits, which is also weird because typically those things balance each other out. So yeah, she has an extra weapon, but everything else is kind of mediocre to average as a consequence. What ends up happening in gameplay is that you do okay in the beginning of the game when other players are farther away from you, but when someone gets close to Faye, it's harder to win those battles with long-range weapons. Finally, having 4 weapons is great, but that also means that you have more buttons to press and tap. This also means that the developers had to fit an extra button for the weapon in the same amount of space, which makes the space cramped and the buttons very small. That gets difficult to get used to, so beware. Now, let's discuss the pros. After all those cons, you might say to yourself, maybe I should stay away from Faye. Well, we don't think so. Not playing with Faye is still going to give you FOMO, and rightfully so because Faye is definitely fun, and as is the case with all characters, along with some weaknesses, Faye also has some awesome strengths, especially on big teams. Her ink bomb can actually be more effective when there are a lot of opponents around, and when you do get someone with the ink, it's so funny to see their reaction. Some players just start spinning in circles, others just choose to freeze. Everyone just goes mad. It's great, and tactically it can be very helpful because you can get a hit or two on the inked opponent who's totally confused. The long-range bow and arrow is very useful, as you can imagine. It gives you lots of viewing radius and you can see farther ahead of you on the map. My personal favorite as far as the weapons are concerned is Faye's shotgun. It's long range, and if you max out the cooldown on it, it will be your saving grace when you get into those close encounters and close range combat with someone because the spread of the shotgun fire is good enough and covers a good amount of both depth and breadth. We find also that if you have the bomb radius maxed out, which we don't yet, but we can imagine it could be really useful, and you use the Molotov with cluster bomb items, it could be really good setup because you create a pretty big barrier between you and the opponents. We'll be honest, we've had a lot of fun playing with Faye, and for the fun ability and the versatility of this character with all these weapons, we're going to give Faye a 7 out of 10. Let us know what you think about Faye in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.